Hello, welcome to my one-bedroom penthouse. Today we are going to be talking about what the club taught me about wealth. Obviously, I'm not wealthy yet, but I have been around a lot of people with money and a lot of people without money, and especially in an environment where people are constantly spending, there's a lot of psychological things that go into it, and I am going to tell you everything that I've learned in my past 2 years at the Midnight Ballet. I think the number one thing is that money does not buy generosity, and it does not buy longevity either. There was this one guy who came into the club probably a month ago, and that's when I really realized this. And he had built a company using very cheap labor, and he had just bought a penthouse in a hotel down the street. I believe it was the St. Regis. He bought, like, because they have several, like, on different floors, and then they have this whole program, I guess, where you have a community of people who live there. So he bought a floor at the St. Regis. He had his wife too, and he was showing me all these videos of him moving in. I think I may have gotten maybe $10 off of that man. Like, he was not there to spend. And I did ask him a lot of questions about his wealth, and it came from like a really boring infrastructure thing. I cannot remember exactly what he did, but it was with building. But he had like a factory, I think it was in the US, I can't remember, but he just got really cheap labor, and that's how he was able to get all of his money. But the thing that I thought was very strange is he was telling me about his wife's suicide attempts, and I said to him, I said, wow, you're that hard to be with? Yeah, I probably shouldn't have said that. But my point was just that money does not buy generosity. It does not. And the longevity point, I think, is very important. I just want to talk about, everyone always talks about new money and old money, but I feel like old money can be new because when it's passed to the next generation, and the next generation has not been taught discipline, has not had to live without money. Reaper, stop licking yourself. Okay, you're on camera. You can't do that. You can't do that, baby. I think he just needs a distraction. Hold on. Money can become new money when it's passed to the next generation, just because those people don't know how to handle it. So just having it does not guarantee the longevity. I want to say too, a good point of this, even if it is transferred to the next generation, it could be done through a will. So then the kid is like on their own for 40, 50 years before the parent dies and passes it on to them. I went to a private school growing up. I went to a lot of schools. I went to a Catholic middle school. I went, Reaper, no, not on camera. You can't do that. No, you're wee-wee. Don't let them see that. Chomp. See, he only likes it when you take it away. Anywho, I went to a private middle school and high school. My first year I was like at an all-girls Catholic school with nuns, and then the last 3 years of my high school I went to the best school in Tampa. And my parents sacrificed a lot to do that. Unfortunately, there wasn't any money left over for my college, so I do have resentment towards them for that, because I had to put myself through college, and then, you know, obviously I'm stripping now. But I think being around wealthy people was very good for my development. And while being in that environment in high school and feeling like I was always less than, it's so satisfying now being 25 and being 6-7 years out of that environment and seeing where everyone ended up. Because some kids, their parents just cut them off. It's other kids, they didn't even know how to start their own career because they never had to survive without their parents. And then, oh God, there was this one girl I went to school with. She used to get all the parts in every play. She was in the choir. And I was on American Idol. I did a lot with singing. When I went to that private school, my last 3 years of high school, they never put me in the a cappella group. It was called Melodivas. I auditioned all 3 times. They never put me in it. Anywho, I looked her up like a few days ago because I was just going through all these people in high school that I was just like kind of wondering what happened to them. And then she was on Oprah, and she's done well for herself, but she was on Oprah talking about a story about her parents divorcing when she was in her late teens in high school. And then I was like, oh yeah, I remember you crying in choir class and everyone comforting you. And I was wondering what that was about. But now I know. And then sitting at a position of 25, and it's like, I didn't get the jump start to be able to move to New York City and work for a company like that. But having to go through everything I have and surviving it, I have a lot better stories than my parents divorcing at 18 years old, 17 years old, and that being the worst thing that ever happened to me. But that's what I'm saying. Wealth does not buy longevity. Struggle does. The people around you, oh my God, looks like okay, I'll get rid of my penis. There's more people around you with wealth than you realize it. I think their real wealth is quiet. Like, and it's easy to build once you have it. I'm not going to give y'all like lessons on how to build wealth. Obviously there's compound interest. You start your own business. You have stocks. Like, there's a bunch of other things that you can do. But more people have wealth than you realize. I think when you're at the bottom, you just think everyone's at the bottom with you, and it's true. Like, it is very hard to climb out of that place. And if you're at the bottom, you're going to be working with other people too who are struggling with their bills. But more people are wealthy than you realize it. You just don't know it because their money is all tied up, hidden away, and invested. So you're not seeing the flashiness of it. Rich looking cars are very easy to buy. Do not be fooled. There's so many men that come to the club and have these nice cars, but they're really not that expensive, especially now that you can lease everything. A Corvette is actually pretty cheap, and it's like a very fancy looking car. I've had many a man try to fool me with a used Corvette. It's not impressive. It is not impressive. So if you are a young girl out there, do not be impressed by their cars. Don't do it. Because maybe if they own it, but even then, if it's a really expensive car, there's no reason why somebody should be driving an $80,000 car, a $100,000 car, unless it's like, because if somebody's making $100,000 a year and then they go out and buy a $100,000 car, it's like, I can't tell you at what percentage your car should be of your wealth, but just because somebody has a nice car doesn't mean they have money. They could have money, but I just think there's just a lot of men out here fooling young women, and they should not be doing it. Wealthy men in the club, like true wealthy men, and the best customers that you're going to have, they're going to pursue quality over quantity. One of my best customers, I've been seeing him for a year now. Yeah, I have another one too who likes me, but he likes a lot of girls. But the best customer, but he doesn't run a business either, because that one went through the traditional way of making an income and going to school and all that. But the other one, he is an entrepreneur, and he started out like dirt poor. But it's quality over quantity. Like, he only sticks to me. There's been like a couple other girls, but the people who are just so quickly distracted by the next woman instead of actually investing in, investing, yeah, but like getting to know a woman. And then, I mean, even with the dancers, it's not like a real relationship. It is, but it's not. My point is, the high value men are going to stick to a handful of women, and the ones that are just out here scattering, throwing their money, it's probably new money, they're not going to stick to anybody for too long. So I don't look at that as true wealth. I would see true wealth as a man picking a couple girls and sticking to them in a club setting. The men who talk about having money, it's very possible that they do have it. I dated a multimillionaire for a year on and off, and I made a video about this and then I deleted it. And that was another point I made too. He talked about money a lot, but he came from extreme poverty. He was adopted and he had like 8 foster siblings. Then from his real mother, he had like 8 more siblings, and the original mother was a drug addict. There was, sexual trauma too that he went through. There was a lot that he went through, but he was always so obsessed with the money, and he was always talking about it. And I noticed too, he would have these numbers he like really hung on to. Like he would always hang on to $800. Like, oh, I made $800 gambling today, or oh, I made $800 selling this this exotic dog. Like 800 was always his number. Well, it wasn't that exotic. I think it was a Doberman. I don't know. He always did like random things for fun. But that was his mentality. Because it was new money, you're either going to have 2 options with people with new money. If they talk about it a lot, it's because they really don't have it and they're trying to act like they do, and that's an insecurity on them. Or they have it and they just can't believe that they have it. It's going to go one of 2 ways, because that personality I'm telling you about with one of my exes, it was like if he wasn't constantly hustling, it took apart his self-worth, because how he saw himself was in what he was able to bring back with money. Like, it didn't matter how much he had in the bank. If he didn't make good amount of money for that month, it ruined him. That's why he always talked about it. My favorite wealthy people are the ones who worked hard, like really hard, like the ones where it's like they didn't buy some crazy crypto or, have some rich person fund them. Like, my favorite wealthy people are the ones who grew something from the ground up, because I really feel like they respect money, and those wealthy people are going to be very generous with their money. I think systems and frugality gets you to wealth the quickest. The systems is going to be the biggest thing. I mean, even with me filming my YouTube videos, I've invested more into myself. I obviously got the camera. I just got a camera cover. I have the mic too. I ended up getting this king bed. I had a queen before. I'm so happy I got the king, because he stretches out so much and I'll still wake up horizontal. But then I got a monitor. I got my Mac. I got like a Mac Mini. I switched everything over to the Mac Mini. I have my microphone. But now that I have like this whole corner set up, and the desk too, because I bought the desk and built it. Like, now that this corner set up, it's so much easier for me to just produce content. Because it's really hard. Like, if you don't have like a dedicated space in your home just for it, it's just really hard. But yeah, the systems. Because it's not about getting like that one hit, that one viral post, that one viral video, that one, viral product, that one celebrity to endorse you. It's not about the virality or the just one-time successes, the one-time investments. It's just the system of doing something that's boring and repetitive over and over again that's going to eventually get you to the wealth, because then you're able to uphold it. Like, wealthy people do not just rely on lottery wins. They rely on the systems to get there. There are definitely levels to wealth. Education can get you there. You're going to have to take out a lot of loans. It's going to be so much money to pay them back. I have a friend who's a chiropractor, and he's like $300,000 in debt for his loans. I might have spoken about this before, because honestly, it keeps me up at night. It really does. My loans thankfully will be gone in a year. I'm very happy to be at that point, but like his, I can't even imagine the interest. And I didn't even realize how powerful interest was until I realized that, okay, somebody's loans compounding at $300,000, that's probably $1,000 a month in interest that you're going to have to pay back. But imagine if you had that $300,000 somewhere else where it's compounding interest positively and then going back to you. But yeah, the education, it will get you a degree in debt and it will open doors for you that you might not have had before, especially like within the medical field, within the law field. But the thing that's really going to get you your freedom is ownership. So that's for a doctor, that's owning your own practice, right? I don't know if that's the correct word for it, or inventing something in the field. Like, it's everything with true wealth has to do with ownership. So, you know, whatever path you take, I think that's amazing. But to really take it to the next level, you're gonna still have to sell something. You don't need wealthy customers. You just need a good product. And using myself as an example, in the club, I do not need wealthy men. I just need men who are going to spend to buy my time or dance. It doesn't take wealth to do that. It just takes me creating a need for a feeling that I can provide. That was the next point too, just that you don't need to fix a problem. Because every time I look on just videos about creating wealth, everyone talks about, oh, you need to fix a problem. You don't necessarily need to fix a problem. You just need to fix a feeling. That feeling can be boredom, restlessness, people wanting escapism. You just need to fix a feeling. Because I feel like there's just two ways now, especially with everything with social media. It's like everything is now either you're selling this one product or you're selling yourself as the product, and yourself as the product is not like you're just fixing problems by talking to someone. You can be educating people. You can also be entertaining them though. And I think I used to get stuck on that. Like, how is entertaining fixing a problem? But it's not fixing a problem. You're fixing a feeling. Somebody who has something to prove is going to be the perfect customer in the club. Because someone who needs to prove that they're wealthy, they're just going to throw money at you. So if you can, like, you know, kind of hit that little sore spot of them feeling, I guess, insecure, they're going to try to prove themselves to you that much more, and it's going to get money in your pocket. I think, too, people have this misconception, and I used to when I was younger. I used to think, honestly, that there were two separate worlds for poor people and rich people, and you do have your gated communities, you have your private islands, but I used to think, like, oh my god, when you're, like, famous, there's this, like, just land far, far away where all the rich people go and the poor people can't even get there. But it's so not true. And I think what I did not realize is that the people who are that wealthy, they're wealthy because they have things that are being made from very cheap systems. Like how I mentioned earlier about that man living in the penthouse at St. Regis. He was wealthy because he had cheap labor. Because I had this idea that people who were wealthy would only want to be associated with wealth, that they wouldn't want, like, and I'm sure maybe you're sitting on the other side of this camera, like, thinking about all the poor people who get screwed over and are paid minimum wage. But I'm just thinking from, like, a a small business perspective, just that people would want the best of the best, not that they would be looking for the cheapest price or the best deal for everything. But yeah, that's how it goes. That I've learned. Wealthy people are actually very frugal. I'm surprised he's so quiet. Usually he's a little mess. But yeah, I wanted to touch back on the point about rich parents not making the children rich, because when I was in high school, I felt like such an oddball, and I don't feel like people were nice to me, but I also feel like I isolated myself too because I didn't feel like I fit. But it's so satisfying now to see that me having to struggle for the last, because I was working too at 14. I had a job the whole time I was in high school. I had 2 autistic siblings at home, so I was helping out with them a lot. I was doing a lot of babysitting. And then I was volunteering on Saturdays, and then Sundays I went to church. Like, I just had this very rigid schedule. I pray to God I'm never that busy again. That was not a good time at all. But I am glad that how much I struggled and went through as a child, that I can see it paying off now, because there were so many kids that I was with in that private high school whose parents had all the money in the world, who went off to the best colleges, who had like Mercedes and BMWs at like age 15, honestly. At age 15, when they had their learner's permit, they had these nice ass cars that I did not have the access to. I remember my mom, she would drive me to school in a 15-year-old Mercedes station wagon. I remember in middle school too, this one guy, he said that like my mom was driving a hearse to pick me up. And I was very embarrassed of that. Same thing with my father. He drove like a 15-year-old BMW. And looking back now, I think that was kind of stupid. I feel like my parents were always trying to play keeping up with the Joneses, because they really could have bought like a newer car that was not a Mercedes or a BMW, and it would have gotten the job done, and it would have been so much more efficient, rather than buying this old brand name car that I got made fun of. But it is, oh God, it's so satisfying to see all the people that I went to high school with now feeling so directionless because they didn't have to work for what they were given. So some people are doing well, you know, some people were raised right, but the majority of them, I like go back to their Instagrams and their last post is from high school. So nice. Because there was a time when it felt like everyone from high school found out I was a stripper and then was talking about me. So for me to feel like I will be rich in the next 5 to 10 years, and for those same people to not know what the fuck they're doing, God, it's the best revenge. It really is. But yeah, that's what the club has taught me about real wealth. And what you get out the mud, no one can take from you.